7 years ago, I am going abroad, broke up with my ex-boyfriend. 7 years later, I took the initiative to send him a message for the first time. Your stepmother has issues with my husband. So what? He said it half jokingly, we can cooperate. So what benefits can I get? Help your dad solve that problem. What's wrong with that? Not good. Because what he always wanted was reconcile. 7 years have passed. I really didn't expect that. My ex-boyfriend and I actually have a chance to get back together. Look at your complexion. Like a panda that hasn't slept well. These years have left me. It seems that life hasn't been very friendly to you. He wore a proud expression on his face. It's like watching a spectacle. He is clearly a good person. It's just that the mouth makes people feel uncomfortable. Reunited after 7 years. Can't you say something to make others feel better? I clenched my fist and then slowly let it go. Remind yourself that this time you are here to ask for help. Give me your dad's phone number. Hand over the things quickly. You can go wherever you want. What do you need my dad's phone number for? Could it be that? He walked closer step by step, both arms resting on the table. That familiar sense of oppression has returned. Lucas attended school from elementary to high school. He has always been the cool male god in my heart. There has always been a sense of reverence in my feelings for him. That's right. It is the respect that commands admiration. There is also the fear that is daunting. I instinctively leaned back against the chair. It immediately occurred to me that he and I are no longer related. You no longer have to please him like before. I sat up straight immediately, speak with confidence. Of course there are serious matters. I have to speak with your dad in person. He glanced at me sideways, a slight smile at the corner of the mouth. Take a business card out of your pocket, gently pushed in front of me. Let's get to know each other again. My name is Lucas, Mr. Johnson's legal advisor now. I stared in astonishment at the shiny line of text on the business card. Lucas, a senior lawyer and partner at Morningstar Law Firm. I really can't believe it. This guy clearly studied finance in college. How did you suddenly switch to being a lawyer? He also became a senior lawyer. My gaze was filled with doubt. It shines as brightly as a searchlight. He let out a helpless sigh. That's right. It's me. Now you can tell me, are you looking for Mr. Johnson for something? I really don't know how to start. If I tell him, my dad's new wife has a complicated relationship with my husband, whom I've been married to for 2 years. I should feel sympathy for him, comfort his dad. I still feel wronged for myself. Waiter, serve us some wine. That day I took half a day off because I had a stomachache. Go home and rest. I didn't expect to hear a conversation that left a deep impression on me. After the sound of the door opening and closing, a voice of a woman I know well came from the slightly open bedroom door. Come, Aunt Sophia bought you LV underwear. Go ahead and try it on to see if it fits. It was given by Aunt Sophia. How could it not fit? The man's tone was full of gratitude. It also carried a hint of whining. Hurry up and put it on so I can see. Oh dear. Aunt Sophia, you are really naughty. Then a sound that sparked the imagination came. Okay, after a while, the woman's voice became hoarse and breathless. Go to my room. It's just at home. I can't wait any longer. No, your wife is about to come back. They couldn't wait to close the door and leave. The sound was astonishingly loud. It turns out that my husband is with his Aunt Sophia. He did mention Aunt Sophia before. She said she has helped him with his work. Without her support, his project is definitely out of the question. If it were just a matter of acknowledging a sister or a younger sister, that would be fine. But this is clearly an aunt of the elder generation. At that time, I sincerely thanked her for her help. I stared wide-eyed, heart pounding like thunder. The teeth clenched tightly but were unable to stop trembling. It feels as if all the strength in my body has been drained away, as if falling into an abyss. This happened after I returned to my country, claiming to be head over heels for me at first sight, promised to help me walk out of the shadow of emotions. The man who swore to love me, cherish me, and protect me for a lifetime, married for only 2 years. You can wear the underwear bought by other women. I hate myself for not rushing out at that moment to tear those 2 scoundrels' mouths apart, give my regards to their whole family. However, when a person suffers extreme blows, the first response is often one of powerless limpness. After rewriting, it would be fine if it was just getting to know a sister or a younger sister, but this is an elder aunt. I was genuinely grateful for her help back then. I stared wide-eyed. The heart is beating very fast, teeth clenched tightly, but still couldn't control the trembling. It feels like all the strength in my body has been drained away, like falling into an abyss. This happened after I returned to my country. He said it was love at first sight for him, promised to help me walk out of the shadow of my emotions. He also swore to love me and take care of me. Just married for 2 years. You can wear the underwear bought by other women. I really hate that I didn't rush out to confront them at that time. Indeed, the feeling of powerlessness is hard to endure. After that, I try to leave early and return late. I don't want to meet him. Another night, I tossed and turned. I heard him talking on the phone on the sofa in the living room. My wife has not been feeling very well emotionally recently. You should also be careful. Don't let Mr. Johnson find out. Mr. Johnson. This name sounds very ordinary, just like the previous generation. Instant, I thought of Lucas. Lucas. Mr. Johnson. In the heat of romance. We shared conversations about our families. My dad's name is Johnson. Your dad's name is Williams. We are truly a perfect match. He looks very pleased with himself. I couldn't help but retort. What's there to be proud of? At that time, there were many names like Johnson, I said shyly. No wonder I feel like I've seen Aunt Sophia somewhere before. What a coincidence. I originally called Lucas with a try-it-out attitude. I didn't expect to connect after 7 years. I never expected that Mr. Johnson, whom Ethan mentioned to be careful about, would actually be his dad. Sigh. What else can I say? This is really too twisted. A few glasses of wine down the hatch. I began to cry heartily, crying while drinking. The heavy frustration, depression, and betrayal that had been weighing on my heart during this time finally erupted. I began to pour out my feelings with tears and snot, make him a complete mess. Then I fainted. The next morning, I woke up. I found myself lying on the luxurious bed in the hotel. The white sheets appeared especially bright under the glaring sunlight. The person lying next to me is not the handsome guy I had imagined. On the contrary, it is my good friend Emily. She spread her limbs wide. Sleep without any image, Emily. Last night, Lucas and I had a great time drinking at the bar. Just when I was filled with confusion, Lucas pushed open the door and walked in. He was still holding breakfast in his hand. A cold wind seemed to follow him inside. Emily immediately grabbed 2 steamed buns. When closing the door, he also winked at me. A mischievous smile appeared on his face, as if to say, "Take your time to talk. I won't disturb." Oh dear, I am a person who has a family. You look so understanding. It's really uncomfortable. So you want my dad to act with you in a live adultery scene. Lucas did not notice Emily's small actions. Pull the chair and sit down. He looked very serious, like a professional lawyer. The moment I bit into the bun, it got stuck in my throat. It's impossible to swallow. I could only nod in agreement. Aren't all the plots in TV dramas like this? A's husband B had an affair with C-Tik's wife D. Then A and C discovered the truth. Everyone is very angry. They joined forces to deal with B and D. In the end, A and C developed mutual feelings for each other, decide to live together. However, I was mistaken. In fact, after they dealt with B and D, they just exchanged a smile. Then they each returned to their own lives. After all, life must go on, even if it's cliched. Lucas didn't notice that I was daydreaming at that moment. Continue asking, "You have any evidence?" Am I not considered evidence? I have been listening to their wonderful conversation all along, except for the part where they drove to other places. If the website allows it, I can even say that part as well. Lucas was so angry that he laughed. Why are you regressing as you grow older? Where's your brain? He doesn't know yet. I have already been approached by Ethan with reasons such as buying a house for friends, a relative's illness, and a cousin's wedding in the countryside. I borrowed all of the 300,000 yuan that I had saved up at home for more than 2 years. Moreover, there isn't even a dime's worth of IOU when I stammered out these unfounded loans. His expression became even more displeased. Listen, go to the hospital for a comprehensive sexually transmitted disease checkup right away. He stood up. Speak without mercy. I will go with you. Let's go now. I looked around. His gaze landed on the backpack he bought for 100 yuan on Pinduoduo, then took out a report from the bag. It is a report of a gynecological examination. He took it over and examined it carefully. The expression became a bit more relaxed. All right, I finally did something that I find reliable. Do you think I don't understand what you are saying, HMPH? But to be honest, I can be unreliable. They left. I immediately headed to the hospital, dragging my feelings of discomfort and exhaustion. Very lucky. I was not chosen, but at that moment, I had a sudden inspiration. Another gynecological examination certificate was issued. It is filled with terminology that only professionals understand. In simple terms, it means that this lady has a gynecological inflammation. Recently, medication treatment is needed. Pay attention to personal hygiene. During treatment, sexual intercourse should be avoided. The key point is, avoid sexual intercourse. Next, we need to find solid evidence of his infidelity. Lucas's gaze was as sharp as an eagle's. He said firmly, "Those who dare to bully me, there must be a cost." I lowered my head and kept silent, thinking it over in my mind. He refers to his father as my person. It's still my ex-girlfriend. After returning home, I carefully prepared a warm candlelight dinner, although I feel that his actions are like a weasel bringing gifts to a chicken. In fact, there is a hidden agenda, but Ethan doesn't think so. He noticed that I had changed a lot, no longer indifferent, but laughed very happily. Instead, they couldn't help but smile broadly. Could it be that Aunt Sophia's favoritism has made him foolish, relying solely on his emotional intelligence and intelligence? How could I have accidentally followed him back then? Then, he casually enjoyed the steak I made without any special effort, also drank red wine mixed with 2 sleeping pills. Then, she went straight to bed and fell asleep, started to snore. Not even a sweet word was uttered. It's really a waste of the 718 days I've prepared for marriage. A touching statement after 1,033 days of acquaintance. I quietly picked up his phone, easily unlocked. I followed the tutorial I found online, did not check WeChat, directly opened Alipay. Sure enough, what is said online is not wrong. The transfer record shows amounts of 520 yuan, 1314 yuan, and 5,201,314 yuan. I have saved screenshots of everything. That's right, it's just a screenshot. Lucas specifically reminded, be sure to play the voice messages when you encounter them. It cannot be missed. Ensure that the evidence is objective and in compliance with regulations, and it is relevant. Next, I saw a few large transfers. The first amount is 70,000. He said it was the down payment his university classmate needed to buy a house. Otherwise, the new couple may end up homeless. How could such a thing be ignored? The second payment is 80,000. He said it was the bride price that needed to be paid for his cousin's wedding in the countryside. The total is 388 million. Otherwise, the bride would definitely not go through with the marriage. How can this situation be ignored? A person spent 150,000. It is because his good friend's mother has cancer. Without money for the surgery, I can only go home and wait. We should be more willing to lend a helping hand in such matters. In fact, the student who needs to make a down payment on a house is the cousin of the groom. There is also a mother who is seriously ill. It's all the same person. I was so angry that my teeth were chattering. From May of last year to October of this year, I have located every transaction record and those overly sweet nicknames. For example, sweetheart, darling, little cutie, etc. An old person. It really makes one feel helpless. How is it Lucas's WeChat profile picture is still the Garfield I changed for him before? I was suddenly very shocked, investigating the affair of her current husband with her ex-boyfriend. Why does it feel so strange? This inevitably makes me think of Pan Lion Lian and Zai Kinking. Moment, the anger in my heart has lessened considerably. Quickly adjust your mindset. He is just a lawyer. There is also a father wearing a green hat. He is truly an unfortunate person. Thinking this way, I feel much better. Humans, one really needs to learn to continuously adjust one's mental state. Only if you are not embarrassed yourself, only others will feel awkward. I sent him a long screenshot of the transfer. A long time passed. He only sent a question mark. Then say, please accept my condolences. I sat back down at the dining table. I poured myself a glass of red wine. Savor it slowly. In the dimly lit living room, the white candle burns quietly. The faint light illuminated the bright red roses on the table. Appears particularly beautiful. Sophia, happy birthday. Ethan walked over holding a bouquet of flowers. The red of the rose brought a touching smile to my face. Sophia, I will love you forever. Will you marry me? He knelt down on one knee, gently put the engagement ring on my finger. Sophia, this is our home. We will live here together from now on, create a little family of our own. Ethan's gentle words seemed to linger in my ears. However, the sudden loud snoring jolted me back to reality. I looked through the transfer records in his Alipay again, along with those blatant messages. Now I finally understand, since I discovered that he was cheating, confirmed by now. I have been avoiding this reality. I am unwilling to acknowledge the man who speaks sweet words to me with tenderness and care. Surprisingly, you are treating me well. On one hand, there is ambiguity with someone else. But reality is harsh. I cannot hide. I put down the wine glass, lie down to the side. Now, the most important thing is to be able to sleep soundly. Next, Lucas said he would make good arrangements and invited me to watch a play. Didn't expect that. Years of separation and reunification. We can now act like old friends. Live in harmony. If only it had been at that time. I shook my head. I want to drive away those illusory thoughts. I arrived at Lucas's apartment. He told me. Aunt Sophia said to go to her place. It refers to room 1019 in this building. She married his father, although I received the keys to this apartment. However, the transfer procedures for the house have not yet been completed. Look at this kid. He's really a second-generation rich kid. I remember when we broke up. I didn't realize he had such a wealthy dad. If I had known earlier, I can also feel what it's like to be looked down upon by the wealthy. There are 2 million here. Get away from my son. Lucas tapped my head, your stepmom. The words are not finished yet. The head was hit again. I looked at him angrily while covering my head. What little stepmother? Her name is Sophia. She has been married to my dad for 10 years. Clearly not for the money. Before marriage, they made a property notarization. Lucas explained. Of course. Dad will not treat her badly, he told me. A will has already been written. We'll exchange 2 houses for a shop in the city center. And the annual company dividend of 1 million is left to her. It can be seen as a kind of compensation for her after her father's passing. Think to oneself. This woman is truly fortunate. I feel somewhat dissatisfied. No need to go to work. You don't have to squeeze into the subway. As long as I am with the president. Life goes on easily and freely. You actually dare to flirt with my husband. Lucas debugged the computer. A harmonious scene immediately appeared on the screen. To be honest, watch this kind of movie with my ex-boyfriend. It can indeed touch one's heart a little. The figure is well maintained. Look, I'm almost 50. It cannot be seen at all. Aunt Sophia, you are really great. I can't take it anymore. The two are performing a scene of forbidden drama. The atmosphere is wild. At this moment, it seems that I have set aside all my feelings for him. The mood is as calm as watching an ordinary action movie. I caught a glimpse of Lucas. He maintained his usual expression, appeared very composed. Yes, as a lawyer. He has seen a lot of big occasions. This might mean nothing to him. Aunt Sophia. When can I get divorced from Sophia? I get annoyed when I see her. Almost 30, always looking like a prince. She wants others to treat her with special care. I also can't muster any energy when I'm sleeping. It always ends in no more than 2 minutes. I am really worried that there might be something wrong with me. The man complained. Oh my, I was instantly furious. You are the one lacking vitality. Your family is all the same. Don't rush. Results will be available soon. I heard that old Zhang is already preparing the bidding documents. If her neighborhood is really going to be demolished, you can bring the betrothal gifts and proudly welcome the new bride. You can also have her help you have a son. Postpartum depression seems to be quite common now. A girl like her, who values emotions deeply and has not been able to move on from a breakup after 7 years. It is also easy to see such a situation arise. Her hand was drawing circles on his chest. Charming eyes. Make men feel their hearts race. You are absolutely right. I want to be a little warmer. This could indeed lead to postpartum depression or even more severe conditions. At that time, son, house, car, money. Everything will be ours. The man became increasingly agitated. Once again, she turned over and pressed down. I couldn't hear what they were quietly talking about. My mind is in a state of chaos. This situation cannot be described as rubbish. It's simply like a demon. He is not simply fickle or emotionally detached. Instead, it was calculated step by step. My marital life, emotions, and assets, even my child. Everything was included in his meticulous plan. They also used a form of invisible harm known as emotional abuse. Silently inflict harm. The ugly side of human nature is completely revealed at this moment. It turns out, the care and acceptance he gave me, it's just planting deeper pain for my future. A warm hand gently rested on my clenched fist. It's like silently comforting me. I am shaking all over. It feels as if the blood has been frozen. I can't imagine. If his betrayal had not been discovered, did not hear this sentence, what will my life become? What kind of future will my hard-earned child face? Fortunately, everything is still in time. The disaster has not yet arrived. My blood is flowing again. Anger overcame fear and disgust. I am determined to make that irresponsible person pay the price. That makes sense. This is the strong Sophia that I know. Lucas saw that I had regained my condition, let out a sigh of relief, start to tease me. I glanced at him with slight displeasure. Don't bring up the past anymore. That's right. When I was a child, I was indeed bullied by older kids. I was so angry that I grabbed a kitchen knife and chased them for several blocks. Since then, I became their nemesis. No one dares to collect protection money from students near my house, so Lucas gave me the nickname T-Rex. But Sophia. 7 years ago, Lucas's eyes were slightly red. I turned on my phone. Oh dear, it's so late, I have to hurry home. Lucas paused, it seems to have sighed. He then picked up his suit jacket. Say, I will take you back. The slightly cool night breeze blew in through the car window. It reminds one of the autumn when he left in anger all those years ago. At that time, we are about to graduate. The relationship was sweet from the very beginning. It has turned into a tangle concerning the future. Ultimately, it is about going abroad for further studies. Either work directly after graduation or get married. Lucas hopes we can get married right after graduation. He said he would arrange my work and life well, turn us into the princess and prince from a fairy tale, live a carefree and wealthy life. Lucas's father is a real estate tycoon. The family has a good economic situation. He dares to say so. I am just an ordinary girl from a small county town. The more one loves someone, the more you compare, the more you will feel inferior. I always hope that I can become better, more outstanding. I hope to stand by his side. It could be because I deserve him, not just because I am his wife. So, I work quietly and diligently, finally obtained an opportunity to study abroad. I was filled with joy and wanted to share my happiness with Lucas. I didn't expect this to become the reason for our breakup. That day, we had a fierce argument. He doesn't understand why I have to go abroad for further studies. I also don't understand why he is unwilling to grow alongside me. Many years later, I finally understood that youthful and reckless love was just a dream. Later, I went to study abroad, work hard to study. I hope to forget him. After returning to the country, I received a job invitation from the largest company in the city. I met Ethan. He is just like Lucas in his youth. There is always a hint of melancholy in his or her gaze. There is a faint scar on the left corner of the forehead. Although I know this is not very good, but I am still deeply immersed in it. Ethan is like a gift from fate to me. Not only does he look like Lucas, moreover, they are very indulgent towards me. It made me feel unconditional love. He always apologizes to me at the first opportunity, willing to accompany me for a late-night snack in the middle of the night. In the early morning, take me to eat soup dumplings. They pick me up and drop me off every day. I prepare gifts and red envelopes for work and holidays. Whenever I am on my period, he will also prepare brown sugar water and a warm pack for me. He is so attentive that it makes people feel he is a perfect partner. At that moment, I finally understood. Why is he so good to me? He originally regarded me as the target, and the little guilt I had towards him is gone. What should we do next? I asked. Of course, it should be done according to his thoughts. I smiled faintly. Ethan, have you ever thought about it? When you stare into the abyss is also watching you. The evening after getting off work and heading home, Ethan brought a steaming cup of ginger syrup from the kitchen. When he approached me, the gentle breath brushed against my neck. I couldn't help but spill the ginger syrup in my hand. Oh dear, I'm sorry, husband. I quickly grabbed a tissue to help him wipe his face. He stood there in a daze. The brown liquid from his face dripped steadily, soaking the white t-shirt he was wearing. It seems like it was sent by Aunt Sophia again. I feel a little nauseous. It was self-inflicted, but there was a sense of guilt on his face. I almost cried. Husband, I'm really sorry. Is it hot? I didn't mean to. He gave a wry smile and pinched my cheek. It's nothing. Fool, you go to bed to play with your phone and rest. I'll take care of it. I'm going to take a shower first. I obediently nodded. He really takes care of me like a child while he is taking a shower. I gently opened his briefcase, quietly inserted a small listening device. Advanced hunters often appear in the form of their prey. Ethan, let me show you today. Wait for him to finish his shower. When you excitedly wanted to kiss me, I threw a diagnosis report at his face. Husband, I'm so scared, I said. Ethan panicked immediately because he knows what he has done. The doctor said I have gynecological inflammation, need to take medicine. I continued speaking. Upon hearing this, he appeared to breathe a sigh of relief. It's okay, dear. We just need to work together with the doctor for the treatment. just temporarily. We can't be too close. I will miss you very much. He comforted her. Think about it. If I have nothing to do, then you should be fine too. Does it feel like a bit of relief in your heart? Because there are no issues to deal with between the couple tonight, don't rush to relax. I have more good news to share with you. By the way, my uncle has recently been saying that his second son wants to open a hot spring bath center with someone else. However, the funds are insufficient. It may be necessary to sell the old house. I said casually. Indeed. Ethan's eyes lit up. He also asked me to help him inquire. Do you think we should consider buying it? The price is quite reasonable. Our savings are almost enough. After all, they are relatives. Can it be cheaper? It can be considered as helping him solve an urgent matter. I pretended to be seeking his opinion. He could even hear the sound of his heartbeat quickening. Bang! 1 million. Bang! 2 million. Bang! 3 million. He excitedly hugged me tightly. He even gave me a kiss. Bye. I will go raise money tomorrow. The afternoon of the next day, Ethan transferred the money to my bank account and leave a message on WeChat. Let Uncle use it first. I will handle the property transfer when I have time. He established the image of a good son-in-law in front of his father-in-law and mother-in-law, which was well received. Whenever my relatives mention Ethan, all of them had proud expressions on their faces. Is this to put pressure on me in the future? Can my family isolate me together? I looked at the extra $300,000 in my bank account with a cold smile. Lucas, the money has been credited. Lucas gave a thumbs up. You can continue. I threw a shopping receipt on the table. Ethan, who bought this bag? $20,000. Are you spending money on something else outside? I can no longer hold back my anger. Question him. His eyes were wide open. The complexion changes constantly. The corner of the mouth is still trembling. Ethan, I love you and trust you so much. You actually. I covered my mouth with one hand pointed at him, crying so much that they couldn't speak. What are you spacing out for over there? Hurry up and explain. I am still waiting for you to clarify. Finally, he spoke haltingly. Sophia, listen to me. Didn't I tell you before? Aunt Sophia has been a great help with the project I am in charge of. I am thinking about her birthday tomorrow. Send her a bag to express gratitude. After saying these 2 sentences, his expression began to relax. The conversation flowed smoothly. Dear, we need to understand. Building relationships with people requires a long-term perspective. This time, I'll send a bag. Maybe next time she will help us even more. Oh dear. You should have said it earlier. I was really shocked. I thought I would lose you. It's really upsetting. I got goosebumps all over. Ethan was very happy. Smiling, he hugged me closer. Sending just a bag seems a bit insincere. How about this? We invited Aunt Sophia to our home. How about celebrating her birthday in person? I said with a serious expression. Ethan felt a bit embarrassed, but she still nodded in agreement to reassure me. Then I'll invite Aunt Sophia to our house for dinner, to demonstrate our sincerity as a couple. Late at night, Ethan slept soundly. I sent a text message to Mr. Johnson using his phone. I am another friend of your wife. Tomorrow is her birthday. Please come and get together. Sure enough, Mr. Johnson only replied with one word, good. Lucas once told me, Mr. Johnson only believes in what he sees with his own eyes. The next morning, I got up early in the morning, cleaned the house thoroughly. He even specially lit the newly bought incense. It was 6 o'clock in the afternoon. I have set the table. Just heard a soft sound of the door lock. Ethan and her young friend Aunt Sophia walked in. I looked closely again at the lady wearing 10-centimeter high heels, with slightly curled hair, fair skin, and a sweet smile. A difficult-to-describe feeling surged within when she looked at me. It seemed like a hint of dissatisfaction flashed in their eyes, but soon said with a smile, "Oh dear, you are really too kind. What birthday is there to celebrate at my age if it weren't for my constant attention to her expressions?" Perhaps they have long overlooked that point of dissatisfaction. Is she unhappy because I am together with her partner? Really, I am so forgetful. I pretended to be frustrated and tapped my head. I ordered a large cake for Aunt Sophia, but I forgot to take it. You stay and chat with Aunt Sophia for a while. I will be back in about 40 minutes. I finished speaking. He hurriedly grabbed the car keys, pushed the door open and go out. They both stared at each other. I didn't notice at all that I hadn't closed the door properly. In fact, I haven't gone far, just quietly hiding near the emergency exit. Time slowly passes, until the listening device in Ethan's briefcase emitted an unpleasant sound. I immediately sent a message to Lucas. It's time to take action. Only 2 minutes had passed. I heard the alert sound. indicating that the elevator had arrived. Then, there was a chaotic sound of footsteps followed by the sound of the door opening. There was also the sound of a woman's scream and the muffled groan of a man after being hit. I am holding a cheap cake in my hand, walked into the room. The performance must always be on point when everyone was watching. I raised my phone and took a few photos. Then she slapped Ethan hard several times. I pointed at him with trembling fingers. Ethan, you said you have nothing to do with Aunt Sophia. I even made you guys dinner and bought a cake. Are you really worthy of me? I want to divorce you right now. At this moment, Ethan was terrified, repeatedly apologizing. Aunt Sophia has calmed down. After all, she has experienced more than both of us combined. She hurriedly put on her clothes, start shouting, at the same time patting the leg. Johnson, you need to give me a fair judgment. This guy said he would treat me to a meal to celebrate my birthday. But as soon as his wife stepped out the door, he started to touch me inappropriately. How could a weak woman like me possibly stand up to him? The sound of crying continues to come through. Did not expect that. In the blink of an eye, Ethan became a bad person. Mr. Johnson helped the still crying woman away with some people. Leave Ethan. At this time, he then realized the seriousness of the situation. Hastily put on the big shorts. The upper body is still bare. Tears and mucus clung to my pants. He begged me desperately to forgive him. Will I let him go? A cold smile appeared at the corner of his mouth in my anger. A wave of the hand. The new incense bottle just fell. The ground is covered with fragments, just like my broken heart. Ethan, everything has reached this point now. You still have the face to ask me to forgive you. If you don't want your colleagues at work and your relatives from your hometown to know, just show a bit of manhood. Simply and decisively get a divorce from me. Let's part on good terms. He suddenly sat down on the ground. For a moment they were stunned. It seems hard to believe in just one afternoon, things have turned out to be so incredible. In this world, things that you want others to be unaware of, unless one does it oneself. The same goes for infidelity. After Ethan calmed down, no longer begging. Instead, we began to carefully calculate our shared assets, dressed neatly. The down payment for the house was provided by my family. Renovation. He is so meticulous about every detail. It makes me feel very uncomfortable. He is no longer the Lucas I knew 7 years ago. I don't want to get involved with such a person anymore. I know that even if he cheats while married, the court will not leave him with nothing, unless he intentionally transfers assets. The down payment is the money provided by the family after getting married. We paid off the mortgage together for 2 years. I no longer want this part of the value added and what has already been returned. Leave the cash to me. The car is part of my dowry. I'll drive away. Is this okay, seeing that I was not arguing? His attitude softened again. They also tried to persuade me not to get a divorce. I picked up my bag and got ready to leave. Ethan, tomorrow at 9 in the morning. Meet at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. After all, we were once husband and wife. Don't make me tear off the facade. 9 o'clock the next morning, in front of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Ethan, who was supposed to be present, did not come. Instead, it was Lucas who was there. I heard that Sophia accused him of sexual assault. I widened my eyes and looked at Lucas. I saw him looking at me with a relaxed expression. Do you think Mr. Johnson will let them off just like that? They need to be taught a lesson. Sigh. Why can't we deal with it after my divorce? The result is, although Ethan did not actually commit a sexual assault, he was still accused of solicitation, sentenced to 15 days of administrative detention, and fined 500 yuan. This punishment is not considered heavy, but it still makes people feel very embarrassed. Actually, I initially intended to apply for a year of educational rehabilitation for him. Just worried that I can't wait. Lucas sighed helplessly. I really can't bear to think about it. He means that he can't wait. 1.5 months later, when I walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau with the divorce certificate, it feels like a heavy burden has been lifted off my heart all at once. Ethan looks very pale. The spirit is also very low. Clearly, things are not going well at the company. After all, things will always come to light. Everyone loves to spread gossip. Not long after, it is unclear who spread the rumor about him having an inappropriate transaction with a woman in her 50s. As a result, the eyes of his colleagues and superiors were filled with mockery and disdain when they looked at him. I watched his lonely figure, no longer full of energy as before. It serves you right, Sophia. When turning around, the sunlight is somewhat dazzling. Lucas's figure is tall and straight. The gaze is also very gentle. Should we go celebrate together? I smiled and declined. although I have been single. But I haven't figured out how to face Lucas in person yet. A decision made 7 years ago. It feels as uncomfortable as a fishbone stuck in the throat. I took 2 hours off today. I need to hurry back to work. Look, men can be unreliable at times, but work is a matter of genuine trust. I devote all my energy to my work. The boss is paying more and more attention to me. Salaries have skyrocketed. Emtikes Sophia. I am a staff member of the Public Security Bureau. We found in our investigation that your identity information may be related to fraud. Have you recently made any purchases in Hong Kong? On the other end of the phone, a man with a southern accent asked seriously. I was momentarily stunned. It feels somewhat familiar. This sound and statement remind me of something that happened 7 years ago. After having a fight with Lucas, he really didn't contact me again. I summoned my courage, steadily embarked on the journey of pursuing dreams. Before departure, I sent him a text message, but he didn't reply. I wandered around the airport with my suitcase until the boarding announcement sounded. I still haven't seen him. I flew across the ocean alone. This is the first time we haven't been in touch for a long time. It was also the first time I seriously reflected on my life. However, in my night and his day, I miss him more and more, just as I was hesitating whether to call him. Received a call from the Public Security Bureau. Emtikes Sophia. I am a staff member of the Public Security Bureau. We have found that you may be involved in smuggling crimes. Please cooperate with our investigation. Your phone is currently being monitored. The address book is also under surveillance. Please refrain from contacting anyone, because the person you contacted may become a subject of our subsequent investigation. I was quite scared. The other party accurately stated the source of the package I received yesterday. It also provided detailed information about my personal background. He asked me to transfer all the money in my account to a designated account. Return it to me after the investigation is complete. I lost $10,000. That is all my living expenses. My family background is average, still has not become affluent in order for me to go to school. The family spent a lot of money. I don't want to worry my parents with these troubles anymore. At that time, I was too naive, easily deceived, follow those people's orders, afraid of affecting others. As a result, I ended up bearing immense pressure. I can't hold on any longer, feeling anxious. I turned off my phone for a month. Later, I heard that a Chinese girl in the same dormitory was also scammed. I just realized that this is a telecom scam specifically targeting international students. I immediately hung up her call. Use your own experience to make her realize that this is a scam. Finally, I freed myself from the anxiety that almost crushed me. But when I powered it on, I saw the breakup message sent by Lucas. Sophia, I have been very busy lately. Let's talk again after a while. Sophia, he really left. Sophia, do you really not love me anymore, Sophia? I am really sad right now, Sophia. I'm getting married. We will no longer be in contact. Wishing you success in your studies. Goodbye. The message was left 10 days ago. I feel very shocked. Standing there for a long time, my fingers trembled as they rested on the screen. The phone number that has been dialed countless times. It's just not working now. Is there a problem with my pursuit of dreams? Or he simply doesn't want to understand me at all? The scam call felt too real. Maybe it's just that I'm too foolish. Or all of this has long been destined. Fate observes us young ones with a cold eye. Sophia, how about having dinner together in the evening? The sound seemed to have traversed 7 years. It took me by surprise. Looking up, Lucas was leaning against the door frame of the office. He has a tall and slender physique, radiating a sense of calmness and calmness. A faint smile-like expression hung on his face, staring intently at me. I also looked at him. His hands were fair and well-defined, clearly not wearing a wedding ring. Was the wedding 7 years ago just an illusion of mine? My arms are a bit sore from holding them up. Please answer it. Suddenly, a large bouquet of roses was stuffed into my arms. The female colleagues around screamed in surprise. I pulled him, almost hurriedly escaped from the office. What are you doing? I am sitting in the passenger seat, holding the flowers awkwardly, complained to him. I will chase you. Lucas looked confident, seems taken for granted, but there is a full 7-year gap between us. I also had a previous marriage that was not very successful. I feel a bit upset. Tears welled up in her eyes at that moment. A gentle kiss softly landed on my forehead. Sophia, can you give me another chance? However, 7 years ago, a warm breath surged in. I was tightly embraced. 7 years ago, you left first. The face buried in my neck let out a low sound of grievance. You were the one who told me that you got married. Let me stop looking for you. He actually still feels wronged. I open the cloud drive, play that voice message for him. How many nights? I am just listening to this voice message. Thoughts keep swirling. Tell yourself repeatedly, don't look for him anymore. He suddenly trembled. Sit up straight and say, the last 2 sentences. It's not what I said. 2 days later, Lucas brought a woman to meet me, Sophia. I looked at Lucas in confusion. He just winked at me. She is no longer the fashionable girl wearing high heels with flowing curly hair. She appeared in front of me this time without any makeup. It seems obvious that you look much more haggard than last time. Just casually tied it into a ponytail. Her face was full of exhaustion. I will clarify these matters with you. Could you let me go this time? Lucas nodded. To prove that I am different from other girls, I took the initiative to suggest a prenuptial property agreement with Mr. Johnson. I believe he won't let me suffer a loss. The house, the car, and the company dividends all have a share for me, but that family business is so large. Who would care about the little amount of money he gives? I heard that there is a conflict between you. I came up with an idea. If I could marry my daughter off to Lucas, then the Johnson family's property would belong to us, mother and daughter. This is really profitable. She smiled. It seems like they have thought of that beautiful future again. It seems that fate is assisting me as well. Mr. Johnson suddenly fell ill and was hospitalized. Lucas is extremely busy, running between the hospital and the company. Often fell asleep by the bedside. I seized the opportunity to take his phone. I sent you the audio I recorded in advance. I want you to stop bothering him. I didn't expect you really cut off contact with him. Lucas has been feeling low for a long time, but I felt very happy. Unfortunately, my daughter. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't solve the problem. Who knows that you actually came back in order to prevent you from getting back together? I recommended you to Ethan. This way, he won't always be thinking about finding young and beautiful women. Instead, I took control of it. As for you, same here. All right, this is how the matter unfolded. You have any other questions, seeing her indifferent expression? It seems that she is still feeling regretful that her daughter was unable to marry into a wealthy family, completely unaware of their own mistakes. We, however, were caught up in her various schemes, wasted 7 years for nothing. Worse still, she actually arranged for her boyfriend to marry me. I really feel very disgusted. I can hardly hold it in anymore. After sending off Sophia, Lucas sent a message to Ethan. This is Sophia's contact information and address. Feel free to use it. Didn't you say you would let her go? I am very surprised. I said to let her go. But do you think the man who was toyed with by her would easily let her go? I silently sighed for her in my heart. Indeed, one should not mess with lawyers. Sophia, let the past be the past. Okay, from now on, we should cherish the happiness of every day. The future still has a long way to go. We can be together forever. I buried my face in Lucas's arms, hearing him speak softly. Something within is quietly changing and gradually growing. 1 year later, we held the wedding on the grass. That was the scene he had always dreamed of. That day, the sun is shining brightly. A gentle breeze blows. The white wedding dress is set against the backdrop of a blue sky, stands out particularly brilliantly. Every day from now on, these are all happy moments that we should cherish. I hope all lovers can be happily together. Make the most of your time. Do not let the encounter go to waste.